Hi 7th graders, I hope you've been doing well. Today we're going to continue on with Unit 6. This lesson is all about finding the percent of a number. So our learning target is I can find the percent of a number using multiplication. So let's go ahead and get started. We have two model problems to find the percent of the number, and then I'm going to teach you how to use an equation to figure out the answers. Alright, so we need to draw a model to find the percent of each number, and the first one is saying find 30% of 50. So here's how we're going to do that. So we have our parts, and then we have all the percents, 0 to 100%. Okay, so what we're going to do is on the part side, so on the left-hand side, we're going from 0, we're going from 0 all the way to 50. So down at 100%, that's where 50 is going. Okay, so what we want to know is we want to know how many lines that we are going to get from 0 to 50. Well, we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lines. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide 50 divided by 10, which is 5, and that is how much we're counting by for each line. So we're going 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, and then we already have 50 and it all fits. Okay, so that's like setting up our problem. Now what we want to know is we want to know 30% of this 50. So if we go on our left-hand side, we find 30%, it's right here. So 30% of 50 is 15. And that is your answer. Okay, let's practice another one. This time we are finding 45% of 120. So if you notice on the percent side, 45% is going to be somewhere in the middle there, halfway, okay? So let's go ahead and let's fill out our parts. We are going from 0 all the way to 120, that's our 100%. Okay, and we know there's 10 lines here. We just counted over here, there's 10 lines, so we're going to divide this by 10. Well, 120 divided by 10 is 12. So each of these lines is really counting as 12. Okay, so let's do our best counting by 12. So we got 12, 24, 36, 48, 60, 72, 84, 96, almost there, 96, 108, and then 120. Alright, so this is a little bit trickier because we are finding 45%. So we know 40% is going to be 48. Okay, but we need halfway in between. Well, if this right here is going by 12s, we're counting by 12s, we want to divide this in half. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So what I need to do is I need to add 6 to this 48. Well, 48 plus 6 gives us 52. So halfway in between 48 and 60 is 52. So that is our answer. Alright, I hope that made sense. If it didn't, please send me a message on Schoology so that I can help you out. Moving on to actually calculating it. To find the percent of a number, we first need to write the percent as a decimal and then multiply them. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's practice example 1. We are finding 72% of 225. Well, before we can do any multiplying, we need to change this 72% to be a decimal. And to do that, we divide by 100, which is really just moving our decimal point 2 places to the left. Okay, so right now there's no decimal point, but we can add one at the end of our number, and then we're going to move it 2 places to the left. 1, 2. So our decimal point number is 0.72. Okay, so now all we need to do is multiply 0.72 times 225. And you can of course use a calculator. I'm going to get mine up. Alright, we are taking 0.72 times 225, which gives us 162 for an answer. Moving on to example 2, This time we have 12.5% of 88, sorry, not just 80, 88. So we need to change this percent to a decimal. And to do that again, we divide by 100, or we move our decimal point 2 places to the left. So here's our decimal point, let's move it, 1, 2. So we're really taking 0.125 of 88. So to do that, all we do is we multiply 0.125 times 88 to get our answer. And I got 11. I hope you did as well. So that is how we find the percent of a number. So I'm just going to quickly go through these next 3 problems because they're exactly the same as what we did up above. Okay, so we're taking 40% of 70. We need to change 40% to a decimal, so we move our decimal point 2 places to the left. 1, 2. I get 0.4. And we're multiplying that times 70. Well, 0.4 times 70 gives us 28 for an answer. Moving on to the second one, 55% of 160. Remember, we need to change that percent to a decimal. So we move it 2 places to the left, 1, 2. So I get 0.55. And we multiply that times our number. 0.55 times 160 gives us 88 for an answer. Alright, and number 3, 225. Man, I'm messing up on my numbers today. 22.5% of 240. We need to move that decimal point 2 places to the left. 1, 2. So I get 0.225. And we're taking that times 240. And I got 54 for an answer. Alright, so that's how to find the percent of a number. Now we're going to practice some where our percents are greater than 100. So what that means is your answer will be bigger than the number that we start with. Okay, so again, we have 120% of 75. We need to change that percent to a decimal. And to do that again, you move your decimal point 2 places. 1, 2. So I get 1.2, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm taking it times 75. 1.2 times 75 gives us 90 for an answer. If you notice, 90 is bigger than 75. That's going to happen because our percent is greater than 100. Alright, moving on to number 2. We're taking 150% of 36. Again, we need to change that decimal to a percent, so we move it 2 places to the left. 1, 2. So I get 1.5 of 36, so multiply by 36. 1.5 times 36 gives me 54. And moving on to number 3, we have 275% of 84. So again, to do this, we need to move our decimal point 2 places to change it to a decimal. 1, 2, I get 2.75 times 84. 2.75 times 84 gives us 231. And again, notice our number is way bigger than the number we started with. That's because our percentage is bigger than 100. Alright, and we have our last problem, a real-world application. So we need to solve each problem by finding the percent of a number. Ms. Vogelson conducted a survey about the number of televisions in her students' homes. The results are displayed in the graph. If Ms. Vogelson surveyed 275 people, how many would be expected to have 3 televisions? So let's take a look at our graph here. 3 televisions is this row right here. How many people have 3 televisions? Right, 23%. So what we're really trying to find is we're trying to find 23% of the 275 people that were surveyed. We don't know exactly how many that is, so let's calculate it. We're doing the exact same thing we've been doing this whole lesson. All we need to do is change our percent to be a decimal. So we move our decimal point 2 places to the left. 1, 2. I get 0.23 times 275. Go ahead and multiply that out, and I get 63.25. Alright, now we need to do some thinking. That's talking about people. Can we have 63.25 people? No, we can't have 0.25 of a person. You can't have like one arm of a person. So we would round this. We can't round up because it's not 64 people. So our answer would be 63 people. And don't forget that label, otherwise I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe you're talking about 63 tacos or 63 dogs. Who knows? Okay, put that label on it so we know exactly what you're talking about. And our last problem, if she surveyed 150 people, how many would be expected to not have a television? So taking a look back in our chart, how many people don't have a television? All right, 2%. So what we're going to do is we're going to find 2% of that 150 people. Okay, so we're doing the exact same thing. We need to move our decimal point 2 places to the left. 1, 2. We need to add a 0 here. So we're really taking 0.02 times 150. 0.02 times 150 gives us 3. So we are talking about 3 people who would not have a telephone or television if they surveyed 150 people. Alrighty, so that is our lesson on finding the percent of a number. Please let me know if that didn't make sense or if you have questions. Otherwise, I hope